And that's the most disappointing thing I think I had ever seen at that point. Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 6 of B.Hooked TV. I'm super thrilled that you're joining me today, so thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, as you heard, we are going to talk about that annoying little jog at the backside of all of your hats when you're knitting in the round. Think about hand warmers or mittens or anything like that. Anytime you're using a pair of circular knitting needles and you change colors, you will have this jog. To help me with all of that, I will be demonstrating with Lion Brand Touch of Alpaca yarn. Again, this is a new to me yarn. I am just loving all of these yarns that I'm getting to play with and try as a result of them sponsoring B.Hooked TV. I really love unique yarns. I don't always love just single plied smooth yarns, especially for my knitting projects, because I tend to like to use more simple basic stitch patterns with knitting because I like it to be a little more mindless. For me, it's a little harder to keep track of intricate stitch patterns, lace patterns, and that sort of thing. Not that they're not gorgeous, they're just kind of not my jam right now. So I love to incorporate interesting texture and color into my knitting projects to sort of make up for the fact that I'm not using a really detailed stitch pattern. Now this yarn is a 90% acrylic, 10% alpaca blend, which for me is kind of the best of both worlds. I really do love using acrylic yarns. I like the durability of it. I like the fact that it's washable and that it tends to stay together. It stays intact. It's a little more durable. But the 10% alpaca part in this yarn is just enough to give you a really soft halo. Just that little fuzz, that little glow around your stitches. And yeah, I'm loving this stuff right now, if you can't tell. I've got a couple different colors here. I'm just crushing over like this color combination this year. It actually looks pretty good with navy blue. So we have goldenrod and Oxford gray. These are two of the color options of many. So I will include the link in the video description below where you can see the other color options, of course, where you can read those other reviews from people who have knit full projects, who have crocheted full projects. I have not crocheted a project with this yarn yet. However, I know that that will certainly happen because I'm really enjoying knitting with this yarn right now. So anyways, you can check that out in the video description below. If you decide that it's right for your next project and you do purchase through that link, it's a really big help for the show. And I just want to let you know I really appreciate that because Lion Brand is sponsoring this entire season of B.Hooked TV. All right, so anytime you're knitting a project on circular needles like this, you're actually working in a spiral. So we're mostly crocheters here. And as we crochet in the round, we have a couple of options. We can either join with a slip stitch, do our turning, well, not our turning chain, but do our chain 2, 3, or whatever at the beginning of that round to start off the next one. And what that chain does is it gets us at the proper level, so there is no jog. The other option, of course, is to not join and work in a spiral. You'll see this a lot with amigurumi projects, like you see Lucy back here, actually kind of out of the frame a little bit. But working in a spiral is the reason for this little jog at the back of your work. When you start the round, you're technically one level lower than you are when you finish that round. So keep that in mind as we have a look at how quick and easy this fix is. So if you're trying to get ahead of the game and avoid this mistake before it even happens, kudos to you because you are taking those steps to, well, minimize frustration when it occurs. But the fix for this little problem actually happens after you made your first color change. So let's say you're working through your project, you want to change colors, you're at that point now. Go ahead and change colors and knit your first round in that color because the fix happens at the very end of that round before you knit the first stitch in that second color. What you'll do is take your knitting needle, grab the right leg of the stitch directly below the first stitch in the other color. Okay, I don't want that to sound like super confusing, so let me try that one more time. To make that fix, find the stitch directly below where your color change happened, grab the right leg of that stitch, and pull it up and onto your needle. Now you've got two loops here. You have a loop of your new color, and then you have a leg of the old color. What you'll need to do to fix this jog is just knit those two together. Like, that's all there is to it. It's that simple. I stressed over this for so long, and that's all I had to do. So what that does is it sort of shifts everything up just a little bit. It's not like a clean cut fix. It's not going to make it exactly the same level. But because you're grabbing a half of that stitch and you're sort of shifting it up, it's concealing that jog a lot more. And you can't even tell from a distance when you're wearing a hat or when you have hand warmers on, you're not going to see this little difference. So that's it. That is the really, really simple fix for this nagging little problem. I hope you use it an infinite number of times as we go into the fall and the winter season. I hope you make tons of hats with it and mitts. I do not consider myself a master knitter by any stretch of the imagination. I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. So I would love to know what one of those instances were for you. When were you in a situation where you had to learn a knitting lesson the hard way? So let me know that in the comment section below. I would love to read that. I know so many others in the community would benefit from that as well, so that we can just learn from each other, so we can spend less time stressing and worrying about all of these little things that we need and want to fix or change. We can learn from each other and really just enjoy our craft. So thank you if you leave that in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check out the link in the video description if you're curious about Touch of Alpaca. So big thank you to Lion Brand for sponsoring this season, and an even bigger thank you to you if you do decide to purchase some yarn for your next project through that link. It's a big, huge help, and I just really thank you. And that'll do it. That wraps up this episode of B.Hooked TV. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all of you who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to consider doing so if this is something that you're really interested in. We talk about crochet a lot, and we talk about knitting as well. So if you're trying to improve your skills in any of those crafts, B.Hooked TV is specifically designed to help you with what you're struggling with. And that's what I want to end on today. If there is a particular topic that you're really struggling with for crochet or knitting, whatever it may be, feel free to drop that in the comment section on this episode or any episode of season 2 here of B.Hooked TV, because I will go through and read those comments and craft future episodes based specifically on the needs of the community. So if you have a need, let me know, because I don't know if you don't tell me. So leave that in the comment section below. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Does anybody put cinnamon in their coffee? Like, I am really loving that right now. I haven't tried doing that before. I needed to shake up my coffee routine. And cinnamon, so good. So good.